better. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Brains and Baubles Live with your host, Davina Dandridge. I'm so excited to be back for Brains and Baubles Live. You can catch me every Tuesday here, right here at 6 p.m. Eastern. I will be sharing and talking about emotional intelligence, how I apply it to my life, how it matters to my life, and how other people are applying it and really making a difference in where they want to go and how their life is. And when I tell you that managing your emotions and using emotional intelligence is the key to happiness, I am not mincing words. This is so very true because your emotional health is reflected in your self-confidence. And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about self-confidence. Sometimes we have it, sometimes we lose it. We always need to be working on it because just the smallest thing, and if we are just triggered and don't recognize what it is, can derail us from the plan that we have for our lives. And that's what I talk about. Planning happiness for your lives, well, for my life, and doing it unapologetically. It's nothing wrong with desiring nice things. It's nothing wrong with desiring a nice a lifestyle where you possibly don't have to work 40 hours a week, a lifestyle where you have more than enough money for just taking care of your bills and where you live. You can have a lifestyle of peace, a lifestyle of love, surrounded by the people, the things, the surroundings that you think are beautiful, that you become obsessed with, that you think are added to your life to make it beautiful. And that's what I'm here to talk about. And, during the course of the time that we're going to be together over the next couple of months or years, however long that this train keeps rolling, I'll bring on guests who are able to share exactly how they have applied emotional intelligence. I also ask them questions about what they're currently doing and what they look to do, and what that one thing is that if they could change it, they would think that they would be better for their emotional health. Everybody has something that they've identified that they need to work on. And I share mine all the time is being a people pleaser, and not just being a people pleaser because I want to show everybody that I love them and they're important and I care about them, which is definitely something to do, but to do it in a way that doesn't damage my own emotions. I'm still working through that. But also just trying to have the perfect image. We all do this, like we're taking care of home, we're taking care of work, we're developing this, we are, always dressed to the nines, always perfect. We do self-care and self-love without even thinking about it. You know what? No one can have it all together all the time. But what I'm here to share with you is that you can have it together, your emotions all the time. You can get a grip on them. It doesn't mean you're not going to feel what you feel when you feel it, but you'll be able to manage it so it doesn't stagnate you and it doesn't ruin your self-confidence. And self-confidence isn't only about image, although image is important. It is more about how you see yourself from the inside out. Because if you see yourself favorably from the inside out, that'll motivate you to do harder things, to dream bigger, to know that you're the person that can do that thing you've always wanted to do. So my job here is to sit back and tell you about it in a relaxed way, in a way different from how I normally do it, but really get to the meat and talk about it in an intimate way. Let's be friends. We don't know each other, but we can still be friendly, right? And so that means sharing. So if you like what I'm talking about, just put it right there in the chat. Let me know that this is something that you're interested in and you want to hear more about. Listen, I have been teaching this to people for years. If you don't know who I am, I'm an author, professor, and I'm an emotional intelligence coach. So my job is to make sure that people are equipped with the knowledge and with the tools to use to manage their emotional health. Because my philosophy is that your emotions impact your thoughts, and your thoughts impact your behavior, and your behavior impact your environment. So if you want a particular type of environment, we're going to engineer that backwards. You see the environment you want. What are the behaviors or the actions that get people to that environment? And then once you find out what the behaviors are, you're going to align your thoughts along with that. And I tell you, when you're happy, your emotions follow, and you can remain happy. You can build your self-confidence. You can become hopeful. You can use vulnerability instead of pride to push yourself forward. And you know that you can do that thing that you want to do. So let's get into it, okay? All right. So, what is self confidence? Self confidence is the positive view that a person has of themselves, looking internally. And, we get, because we're on social media right here, right now, right? We get the view that self confidence is about how we present ourselves on camera or on film, the witty things that we may say online. But typically, it is about you alone, not how other people see you, but how you see yourself. Okay. So just because someone sees you as a confident, well put together person, does that mean that you are? No, and not all the time. So it's definitely something where you have to develop a plan and a process to become your own cheerleader, to become your own motivator when you can't get anybody to give you that atta girl, when you can't get somebody to give you a pat on the back and tell you you did a good job. You have to be focused and stay focused. And that's what self-confidence can do. It can give you focus and determination to do what it is you want to do. Okay. So, another thing what damages, let's talk about what damages self-confidence. Okay. So what can damage your self-confidence is unreasonable expectations. So, you might say, Davina, well, how can you tell me that my expectations are unreasonable? Well, I can definitely tell you your expectations are unreasonable if you have not practiced self-awareness. And so many people that we know, and even the people that we love, don't necessarily practice self awareness, because you know that auntie, you know that cousin, you know somebody in your family that just says whatever they want to say whenever they want to say it. It's their emotional default. People accept it, they operate around it, but it's not right. It's not right. So, the point of having self awareness is to do a number of things. The first is to recognize what things trip you up emotionally. What triggers send you off the rails or take you away from being the confident person that you once were? The person who could maybe could sing. Like I used to be a singer. I even studied opera for a while. And so for so many years, I didn't stick with music and I lost the skill. I don't remember exactly how to read music the way that I did. I don't even know how to warm up the way that I did. And if I begin to sing, most people around me tell me they would just wish I would be quiet for a minute, except in the shower. I have control of that, right? But what I'm saying is, if I had continued with my studies of music, if I had continued practicing and learned an instrument, I would be confident in my ability to sing. I would be confident in my ability to read or create music because I would know how to write. But the saying is true. If you don't use it, you will lose it, and that will damage your self confidence. And that happens to us. We get so engrossed in the thing that we did well at one point in our lives. Our bodies aren't the same. So if you were a great athlete in high school and college, and that resonated with you, that's part of your persona as being a great athlete. And now you feel like your body is changing. You can't do all those things you used to do. That is reality. That's part of life. But you have to be self-aware to know that, yes, you were a great athlete in high school, in college, but you're great at other things too. What have you done between then and now that is monumental? That means something to your life and the people around you. I'm certain that you've done some other things, but we rest in what we used to be. We are looking too long and too hard at what we used to do. We're not the same people. Even if we did something really well and it was great, and that was 20 years ago, you can't tell me that you are the same person today that you were 20 years ago. And I can tell you for a fact, you are not. Do you want to know how I know? Because you have had life experiences. You've had great experiences. You may have experienced tragedy. You may have had ups and downs, and I guarantee you that you have. The thing that is different about you now is that you've learned lessons. You've made missteps or mistakes, and you learn from it. And now you have the ability to move your life along faster. 20 years ago, you saw so much more time to do the things that you want to do than we actually have. And we start doing the math. Well, for me, I'm going to be over 100. So I still have plenty of time to do what it is that I want to do. But for some people, that's not their reality. They don't think that they'll have that much longer. And we don't know how long we'll have to do the things that we want to do. That's why it is so important to take action today with maximizing the use of your emotions in a positive way. I mean, what are we waiting for? Till you retire? Are you waiting until the kids go away to college? Are you waiting until little Johnny get out of high school? Or Stephanie can drive? You always will have something to wait for before you start building your self confidence to become the person who can do the things that you want to do. So, yeah, how you look, and you have to play the part for where you want to go. That's important too. But I'm looking inside. Okay. So, if you know what I'm talking about, give me a star or a thumbs up in the chat. Tell me that you need to be introspective, that you need to look inward sometime just to make sure that everything is okay. And when you find something imbalanced, that's the opportunity that you can make some adjustments. And my whole idea, my whole concept, from the bling concept to the SGC concept, is to allow you to use your empowerment to change your emotional defaults, to no longer be triggered by things that get you stuck and help you lose your self-confidence. So you can lose your self-confidence again from not doing the thing that you did so well. You can also lose your self-confidence with unreasonable expectations, and then you get disappointment. You get disappointed. So you say, how can I balance my expectations? Well, two things: the bling concept and the SGC method. The bling concept is an overall overarching concept where it allows you to be open-minded to a different outcome than you thought it was going to be. Your expectation is that you're going to have a particular outcome, but it's a checks and balances. Have you done the things that it takes to get the outcome that you want? Do you even know what it takes to get the outcome that you want? Have you contemplated when you should do what it takes to get the outcome that you want? Emotional balance will allow you to put a plan in motion to execute and know that you can do it. So, how do you build your self confidence? I can tell you how you build your self confidence. You build your self confidence one step at a time. It's not going to be magic where all of a sudden, oh, do you remember this show? It was called The Swan. And this was at the beginning of the whole mommy makeover, or I'm going to completely change my look after I've wanted to do all of these things all the time. And it was called The Swan. So typically they take by society standards, less attractive person. And yeah, the person might have some things that they really need cosmetic help with. Like they might have messed up teeth, or they may have, misaligned boobs, or something's off, and they need a doctor's intervention to get them to the place that they think that they'll be satisfied, right? But the thing about the Swan is that they could do all this outside changing. All of this could be totally different but inside they don't have, or they lack the confidence that it takes to do something that they've wanted to do, to be in a group that they wanted to be in, because usually that's what it's about. They haven't been in the social realm that they want to be in, or they haven't explored some things they want to explore. I haven't done everything I wanted to do either. But the point is, changing the physical is part of it, but the emotional is more important. So when you have failures and disappointments because you are not yet that point person who can do what it is that you want to do, you get set back and you get stuck. And being stuck is a definite self confidence minimizer, because you have to figure out why you're stuck and then have the motivation to get unstuck. And it can be hard if you don't have the support around you to do that. So self-confidence starts with you. So how can you build self-confidence? We talked about how you can lose self-confidence. How can you build self-confidence? You can build self-confidence by recognizing your strengths and weaknesses. Let's start at ground zero. Recognizing your strengths and weaknesses. We all have them. And just because you have a weakness in one area doesn't mean that that area has to remain your weakest part. There, with the internet, with social media, there are opportunities for you to develop in the area that you're weak. Okay, my book is called Brains and Baubles, Do What Works for You. Okay, and the reason why it's called that is because there is an answer to the question that you have. There is a way that you can learn how to develop certain skills, and you can get that information online. You can get it from buying a book. You can get it from taking a webinar. You can get it from YouTube University. You can get it from an actual university, but you can get the information you need to build your self-confidence in a certain area. But it first starts with your self-awareness, being aware that you have weaknesses that you need to work on, and then being the type of person who can get the information to make sure that you are on track to becoming the person that can do the thing that you want to do. And I mean, self-confidence is part of it. It's part of it. Building your self-confidence is important to even getting the buy-in for your support. If you're the type of person that starts things and you don't complete them for some reason, that can diminish your self-confidence. So you're not always going to get the support that you want, right? And I'm saying that the support that you want, because the people around you, they've heard your stories. What you good? I'm going to do this starting in January. I'm going to do this, or starting, I've made up my mind this time it's really going to work. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Or you have determined within yourself, I don't care what happens, I'm going to write this book. And then you start this book, and then life happens, and you don't go back to it. And then when someone asks you, oh, so what happened with your book? Then now you're shrinking, right? Because you think this is yet another thing that's added to the list of things that I haven't completed. I'm telling you, you better put that thought out of your mind. I'm telling you that, yes, maybe you have started some stuff and didn't finish them. A lot of people do that. Okay. A lot of people do it. Maybe the thing wasn't meant for you. Maybe it was something that you saw that worked well for someone else, but it didn't work for you. Or maybe it does work for you, but you're not yet the person who's ready to do it because you don't have certain things lined up, like self-confidence and like support. Because, like we said before, other people know about the things that you didn't complete. But listen, don't let that stop you. Don't let that stop you. There are plenty of famous people and famous um, developments in technology that we are aware of today that probably took more than one try to get it done. And people probably weren't as supportive toward the end as they were in the beginning of the person who was creating this wonderful device or technology or art. You know what I mean? So you're going to have to get over the fact that you might not get a cheering squad like you want. And it might not come from the people that you expect it to come from, because everyone is trying to figure out what they want to do for themselves. But you are in the right place if you're looking to your emotions as the answer to what's going to help you push yourself forward and build the confidence that you need to do things that you've always wanted to do. So failure isn't a bad thing. And if you consider not completing something failure, I may have to disagree with you on that, because there are times where you might have to put something on a shelf and go back to it. So just because you didn't complete something doesn't mean it's the failure. It means that if it wasn't for you, now you're developing the skills to find out what is for you. Okay? Just because it worked for someone else doesn't mean it works for you. Self-awareness allows you to determine if something is going to work for you. Whoop. If something is going to work for you. Okay. And if it's not working, then you have to pivot. The worst thing that you could do is stay into something that's not working and is pulling you down and dragging on your emotions, making you feel anxious, diminishing your self-confidence, and giving over to anxiety and fear. So we can work on that. We can help that. We can cure that and not let that happen. Because when you have fear, then your thoughts are hopelessness. You should never be hopeless. We can look at things from the past, like your former athletic career, and remember that you couldn't have done that by yourself. You had help from up above. You had help from your family. You had support. You had teammates. It took all of that to get you to be the star athlete that you are. So if that can happen for that thing in that arena, then it can certainly happen for other aspects of your life or other goals that you have for your life. So having self-confidence helps you build that support system, because you can move away from fear and hope and then move into anticipation of doing something great, of having dreams and actually going after your dreams and finding out that there is a way to do this thing because other people are doing it. And recognizing that sometimes you just haven't taken it far enough. We can't expect instant gratification all the time. Realistically, anything like your athletic career, it took time to develop, from little league to whatever you were doing, to strength training, to building your stamina, to learning the techniques and learning the plays. So it doesn't happen overnight if you're going to be good at something, if you're going to have success at something. So let me tell you what to do about your self-confidence. All right. I want you to make a list of everything you have done and do well. Things that your family members, people who love you, or even the things that you get paid to do that you do well, I want you to write a list of those things. Do that first, okay? Sit with that. And really think about how you felt when you got to sing like I did, an aria in your high school's Christmas program. Never sang a solo before. Don't remember how I did. Didn't get it on videotape, but I remember the feeling of, first of all, being chosen, and then developing the confidence that I am supposed to be doing this because I was chosen, not doubting the fact that I was chosen to do it. If I'm chosen to do it, then I must have something to add or contribute, something worth developing by that teacher to push me forward to do that thing. So whatever it is, remember the feeling that you had when you were successful at it. And this thing didn't have to be 20 years ago. This could have been last week. This could have been this weekend when you cooked a great meal for your family and somebody was like, oh, this was good. It could have been the way that you did your makeup and you got compliments. Or you created or sewed an outfit or did your hair a certain way and you had never tried it before. You didn't even think that you could do it, but it was out of necessity and you did it and it was slamming. And then you're like, okay, all right. I am working with gas right now. I can do some things. Look at that list and remind yourself of the good feelings you had. All right, so take that list, put it aside. You remembered all of those beautiful, wonderful feelings that you developed. You remember how the people around you behave. You probably remember that after you had that great feeling because you accomplished something great, that you went and did something good for somebody else, that you celebrated in a way that was great. You bought somebody else something, or you paid for dinner to celebrate. Whatever it was that made you feel good, remember it. Remember it. And we're going to use that as memory for that great emotional feeling. Okay. Now, you know that there are things that you need to work on. You've taken the time to be self aware and contemplated how you react or respond to certain triggers. And you know that you either have addressed it or need to address it. So don't delay on that. If you need to address it, don't wait because your behaviors and thoughts are impacting somebody else. Okay. So don't wait on that, but identify at least one emotional trait that you see that needs work on, like whether it's people pleasing, whether it is not keeping your word, whether it's agreeing to do things and not being honest and saying that it just doesn't work for me right now. You know, whatever it is, I want you to sit that aside and think about how you can manage that emotion, what you can do to flip it on its ear. Now, here's the first thing that I suggest that you do. Almost any negative emotion that you feel or encounter, there is a positive one. There is a positive one. So, how do you get to feel that positive one? You have to find a way to remind yourself. My way of reminding myself of a positive feeling, or when I get a bad thought, how to flip it around, is to find a scripture online and use that scripture as the antithesis of that thought. So maybe you use a mantra, or you could create one on your own. You need something that you can go to when you get that bad thought because you can control that thought. And remember what I said in the beginning. Your emotions impact your thoughts impact your behavior, and your behavior impacts your environment. And with you as a self-aware, self-confident person, you have the ability to become that person that can create the environment you want. Oh, that was good. That was good. I really hope you got value out of that. Listen, I'm here every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern so that you can start feeling about working on your emotions. Maybe you never thought about it. Maybe this is just a passing thing, but keep coming back. You're going to get the thought, and then that thought's going to change some of your behavior. Also, if you want to know more about the bling concept or the self gut check that I talk about, it's right here. Uh-oh. It's in my book. It's called Brains and Baubles. Do what works for you. 5 brilliant steps to find happiness using emotional intelligence. It's available on my website, davinadandridge.com. You can get it there or other booksellers, but get the book. Get it, get it. And also, listen, it's not too late for you. Okay. So yesterday I started the round 2 of the emotional reset challenge. And I have people who came back from the first emotional reset challenge to get more juice. When I tell you, I break down what you need to do to build your self-confidence, to start using vulnerability as a means to get where you want to be, how to set up boundaries if you've never set up boundaries before, how to actually make a plan for what it is you want to do in your life, and how to dream. And if you're not dreaming, how to dream, but if you are dreaming, how to dream bigger. right? So if you're interested in digging deeper into becoming the person that can do the thing that you want to do, it's not too late for you to join the Emotional Reset Challenge. Okay, so we're only did day 2 today, but you can go ahead and look at the video from yesterday in our Facebook group, and you can jump right in with the home